What's going on, guys? My name is Sam, and I'm an artist in Northwest Arkansas. I primarily work in fine art mediums and digital illustration. What I'm talking about today is a piece that I hold very dear to my heart, something that is very personal to me, and it's called Deep Dive, and it's my first NFT that I've ever created, which is a non-fungible token. I'm sure you've heard a lot about NFTs lately, but I wanted to kind of make this video just kind of walk through the whole process of making the art piece, animating it, creating, putting it up on a marketplace like Foundation. And with it being my Genesis piece, I really wanted it to be a very special piece to share with the world. And I think it does it more justice if I make this video to kind of explain the whole process of creating it, the meaning behind it, the story, just kind of my journey of being a visual artist in this space that I want to grow in and connect with more people. So hopefully this video gives some good perspective and context and understanding of my whole creative process. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. So now that you've seen the video time lapse, you might have went back a couple times to watch it a few times because it does go by kind of quickly. But uh, yeah, it was a really fun process. A little bit of information about the subject matter is I came across an eyeball that was a stock photo, and it was just a very zoomed in, focused photograph of an eye. And I looked at it, and it was such a moody and dark image that I thought to myself, what does this have to do about self introspection or self reflection? Um, and a lot of the past, I guess, year plus with just COVID and just having a newborn child, my first child, that my wife and I have had the pleasure of spending so much time with lately and enjoying so much. But there's been so many life changes that I've had a lot of time to look at myself of like, who do I want to be? Who am I? And kind of taking a close look at myself. And that's, in some days that I've done that, it's been kind of an uncomfortable process of, just self-reflection. And I've had 3 job changes in the past year, and kind of thinking to myself, who do I want to be? Where do I want to go in life? And so yeah, I kind of wanted to make an art piece that expresses that in some way. And as I wanted to do this painting of an eye, I thought, why don't I have this eye as like a deep sea creature or something that's beneath the surface in the deep ocean or something. And so I looked up different stock imagery of swimmers, deep divers, and I came across this woman that was just kind of going straight down, like free diving, no gear, just like, in the swim trunks and flippers, and that's it. And so I thought, what if this person is running into themselves as the eye, as the huge eye, in the deep, dark water, and there's only some very faint light rays that are coming in. And so I kind of thought to myself, okay, that could be really cool, where, it's almost like this surreal thing where what if the thing that you're afraid of running into in the deep, dark ocean is yourself? And so that was kind of like the spark that I had in my head. So I have different groupings here of the eyeball. So if I make the eyeball invisible, I have that as a separate layer. I have different eyelashes separated, so I duplicated those. And then I have the person separated on different layers. I have I'll zoom in for you. So you have the torso, the arm, the head, and then the different legs. And what I had to do once I brought it in Photoshop, I had to recreate certain pieces of the body. So this our right that we're looking at, her left leg, wasn't visible behind this other leg, originally. So in Procreate, I made sure that when I hid the front leg, the foreground one, that the back one was fully developed enough to where if they were moving back and forth, then it wouldn't look, like it was cut out or something like that. You might hear my child kind of making noise in the background. It's nap time, so we're trying to get her down, but just gotta roll with it. But anyways, I also have the bubbles, so she's blowing out different bubbles. I wanted to have different streams of bubbles, so I painted 3 different speckled bubbles here, because I wanted to have it kind of different ones come up as she's floating back and forth. And then I have the light rays, so that's kind of like the light source is coming from above, as you can see the eyeball and everything, the way that it's lit. So I wanted that to be visually like make sense, So yeah, as you can see here, I'm kind of separating all the light rays. I think originally I didn't have them separated, but when I brought them into Photoshop, I kind of realized, oh, I want to have these kind of overlapping each other, kind of like coming in and out and overlapping. So that's something that you'll notice in the video. And then I wanted to add some textures. I think adding texture and noise to your art pieces can really, really help them kind of just take it up a notch. And adding like some little fibers and noise and stuff like that will help. And this specific layer, I have a dark texture layer. I have set it to screen mode, so you can test out all kinds of blending modes, but screen usually is a really good one that works. So yeah, that's kind of what I did, and I made sure that anything that I was gonna have animated, I cleaned up. Like the eyeball, I had to paint a little bit extra, and and then I have the base. So there's certain parts that I wanted to have like as my base, kind of stay still, and then all the other pieces like the person, the eyelashes, the eyeball, and then in After Effects you'll see that I kind of break down like my thought process of like rigging up certain things that I wanted to move, and so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, let's take a look at After Effects. All right. Welcome back. I am in After Effects now. So what I did was I saved my Photoshop file with all those separate grouped layers, and what I did was imported it straight into After Effects. And what After Effects does, if you have grouped layers, is it'll kind of create compositions for you. And in each composition, like say if I click into the eye, this composition, I have the eyeball, the right eyelashes, the left eyelashes, and then the base, what I was describing a little bit earlier. And if you look at the eyeball here, what I did was let me zoom up and pull this up so you can see. One of the things that I had was a distortion mesh that I liquify I put on it. And here, let me turn this up so you can see. I created different timestamps, and as you know, this is a 20-second loop, by the way. So I wanted to make sure that whatever was happening at the very beginning, I want to have a timestamp at the very, very beginning, because once I get to the end, I want it to either like here, the last timestamp, or at the very end, like right here, which is the rotation. I wanted to have the positioning and the rotation and all those things in the exact same area as the beginning. That way it could loop seamlessly. So that's a really important key thing to remember. So I have different pinned anchors for the eyelashes, and as I am dragging the timeline down, I'm dragging these little anchor points to different areas, and so it's distorting the eyelashes a little bit as I'm rotating it. So I set a rotation timestamps, so it's kind of swinging back and forth slowly, but it's also kind of getting distorted a little bit, and then by the time it ends at the 20 seconds, I made sure that I'm copying the same positions of all the pins over here to the 20 seconds. So here I have the head, I have the puppet of her head, so I have these different pin marks, and I wanted to have the base kind of pinned, and then the different main strands of hair, like groupings of hair, being distorted as time went on. So here I kind of brought it inwards, and then here I kind of pulled it out, and so as her hair is moving, it looks like it's like moving in the water. So yeah, it was pretty cool. This was a really fun process to figure out, because I actually didn't know how to do these anchor points and stuff like that. I knew how to do like the rotation and time stamping, like positions and whatnot, but the anchor point thing, I had to watch some tutorials on YouTube and kind of see what other people were doing. And I have the bubbles kind of coming up, and what I did was I made timestamps for the opacity. So like obviously you want to start at 0%, and then you gradually have them come in and then fade out and then come back in. So that was a very subtle part of the piece that not everybody would see right away unless they got like really close. And this was cool when I separated all the light rays at the top here. So I separated them, and I had them all rotating over each other, overlapping each other horizontally. I didn't go up and down, I just kept it horizontally. I kind of had them fade in and out, move back and forth, and it just took a little bit of tinkering. And here I have the textures. So one of the things that I ended up doing in post was I wanted to have, like you see underwater recordings from videos. You see all the little like particles in the water, like that are kind of getting blurred out or coming into focus and then coming back out of focus. Deep dive is a look at what I'm most afraid of. The deep, dark ocean, and taking a close look at myself. So, sometimes we need to go beneath the surface and take a hard look at ourselves to see if we are who we want to be. And, I think self-awareness, even if it's uncomfortable, is the start to a better self. And I hope this speaks to you in some way. I hope this communicates that in some way to you, where, if you're afraid of opening up to others or even yourself, or just like kind of looking inside of yourself because you're afraid of what you're going to find, I think you should take that step. I think you should take it in some way, that step of self-reflecting, pausing. You know, we live such a busy life. We are always grinding and just, you know, going at 1,000 miles an hour, that we very rarely stop and reflect on our lives. And that can be a very scary thing, because, you know, we have a lot of baggage that we're carrying, where, you know, we've all experienced different things in our life, and some of those things are very painful. I just want to encourage you, if you're watching this video, that you can dive deeper and that you can go beneath the surface. I know you can, and I know that I can. It's a reminder for me. You know, I made this piece as a reminder for myself to dive deeper and to look at the core of who I am and who I want to be. And I hope you do the same. I hope you enjoyed this process, me just talking through how I made the art piece and the work behind it. But really what I'm trying to get across is just the message of it, and then I hope it connects to you in some way.